Kosovo. Have you seen this meme from The Simpsons predicting a war between Kosovo and Serbia in the autumn of 2023? That's weird, especially on all of the news that The Simpsons continues to predict things that are true, such as the Titan sub. There was an episode where a submarine was lost in the Titanic and running out of air and stuck somewhere. Not only, though, on this episode about the war between Serbia and Kosovo in the autumn of 2023, which we are quickly approaching, but in the same episode, in that same year, The Simpsons go to the theater where a movie called Oppenheimer is playing. This is the year 2023. There is a movie named Oppenheimer playing. I don't know what to make of this, you guys. I am not sure if The Simpsons are just a quantum leap of time and space. I don't know. I do know today, though, that tensions are increasing between Kosovo and Serbia. This was parliamentary session today in Kosovo. Watch.
Ju lutem policia brenda kuvendit.
All right. So that's hardcore, right? What was happening, what you saw just there, was Prime Minister Albin Kurti speaking. He's an opposition, and he's a prime minister. An opposition lawmaker threw water on him, and then all hell broke loose. Men, women, didn't matter. They all dived right in. The prime minister had been speaking about government measures to diffuse tensions with ethnic Serbs in the north of the country. Now, tensions have been high since recent elections, in which ethnic Serbs in the region just sat out the elections in protest, which meant they had a turnout of a paltry 4% of the population voting. Now, in May, as tensions began to grow in the wake of those elections, NATO started sending in what they call peacekeepers or troops to choose a side. The side of NATO is on the side of Kosovo. By some accounts, there have been up to 700 NATO troops already stationed there. Now, NATO says that Serbia must recognize the independence of Kosovo, which Serbia does not. So does that mean we should all recognize the independence of Crimea and the Donbass in Ukraine? No, that's different. NATO does not feel that way. They just...
No, we don't do consistency in the U.S. We don't do consistency in our government.
Or in NATO.
We can't do that.
Or in Western-led wars. You're right.
Well, unless you consider the consistent corruption. That is consistent.
Or consistently inconsistent, right? Some people can choose to be independent if we feel like that serves our purpose. There may now be another election in Kosovo, though, in order to sort of legitimize this government. Just today, Kosovo President Osmani was reportedly in talks by the French President Emmanuel Macron and German Chancellor Olaf Scholz at the European Political Community Summit. And they talked him into perhaps running another election. Now, why, you ask yourself, would he allow the German and French governments to tell him what to do? Well, according to Serbian President Alexander Vučić, it's because the Prime Minister of Kosovo wants to be the new Zelensky. This is something he's been warning us about repeatedly. I don't know that if my children said that was a life ambition, I might talk them out of being the new Zelensky, but everyone's got a goal, right? To each his own. Earlier this month, President Vučić said this, and this is at least the second time that I've seen him say this. He says that Kurti just wants to be the new Zelensky. While the offensive of Ukraine starts, you'll see an additional offensive of Kurti in the Republic of Kosovo. I ask the people of the Republic of Kosovo to be careful, to just take shelter for a while. I'm afraid that this terror will become even fiercer. So let's draw these parallels, shall we? Ethnic Russians in the Donbass have been being attacked since 2014 by the Ukrainian military because they opposed Western alliance by the Maidan coup. So in Kosovo, now ethnic Serbs who live there and do not recognize Kosovo as an independent place are, I want to say, prejudiced against by people who feel that Kosovo should be independent. So if you can make yourself a Zelensky, then you got a fight on your hands that you can sell, the Western world, right? And so what he's warning there is that this guy wants to be the new Zelensky, make his war, let's say, Vogue cover worthy, and that this will, in fact, make it safe for the ethnic Serbs who live there. So this is what's happening there in terms of escalating tensions. He seems to think that Vučić seems to think it will simmer down. I don't know on what basis he thinks that will be happening. And because once NATO is there, we'll see. If NATO makes a Zelensky out of Kurti, then NATO will simultaneously be fighting against independence in Donbass and for independence in Kosovo. So yes, I think we've drawn out that contradiction. So are the Simpsons right about predicting world events, and will there in fact be an ethnic war in Kosovo supported by NATO? We'll have to wait and see. So let us know what your thoughts are on this rising conflict. I hope to have a guest on about this to further explain these rising tensions. The American ambassador in Kosovo has spoken out and said, this is not a good thing. Violence is not supported. But we will see. We'll see if the West decides to draw a line, or if this is maybe not the sexy war that they need right now. We know that it's not about budget, because the United States will print money in order to funnel it into NATO, into wars. That's not a problem. It's not that we can't afford it. I mean, come on, it's war. There's always money for war, like there's always room for Jell-O. Remember that saying?
There's always money in the banana stand.
I don't know that one. Did you just make that up?
No, you don't know Arrested Development?
Arrested Development.
I did watch Arrested Development. I missed one. Okay.
Yeah.
Always
That
money
was
in the
like one of
banana
the most
stand.
famous, always money in the banana stand.
Okay. Especially as it relates to things we absolutely want, like warfare. So if you were from this region, let me know what you thought of our analysis tonight, or if you have something else that you'd like to point us to, because this is something that we want to continue to watch, especially because of this warning. The idea that there should be another Zelensky says to me, well, what does that say to you? The new Zelensky? Does it say to you? To me, it says a new propaganda figure. That's sort of what that means to me. What do you think that means, David?
Yeah, I mean, that's what it sounds like to me. I mean, the thing is, though, you got, can we have a new Zelensky with the old Zelensky still there? Or do we have to get rid of the old Zelensky and just, stop sending money to Ukraine and start sending it to Kosovo then? Is that how that works? Or can we have two of them? Can we have
that
two?
wouldn't work. You have to have just the one. I don't know.
Maybe just Ukraine just absorbs Kosovo and Zelensky runs both, and win-win.
I mean, we were sold simultaneously Afghanistan and Iraq. So anything's, never put it past the war machine, the propaganda war machine. So I guess, if you have a strong enough bad guy, they don't have a Putin to put up against a Zelensky in that region. Vučić is quite popular with his own people and hasn't done anything that America can really hold up against him yet, as far as I know. There was a scandal I read about soccer. I can't repeat it at this. I'd have to do a little digging about it. But nevertheless, I would prefer not to be sold any more wars. Let me know what you think in the chat.
Thank you so much for watching this segment here at Redacted. We are live every day at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, trying to share the stories that the mainstream media will not cover. You should also come over and join our community of Redacted Rebels over at redacted.inc. That's our private locals community where we can share exclusive content that we simply cannot share here on YouTube. Come over and join the rebellion together right now by going to redacted.inc. We'll see you next time.